If you remember last week, we began to talk about growth groups. And we began to talk about how the church throughout its history has emphasized large groups and small groups, and just how that trend throughout history went. Well, today I want to talk about making friendships. And I found this, now I actually took this from an article that I found in the Seattle Times probably a couple of years ago. And it was actually titled Seattle Nice. And so I changed it to Renton Nice. Let me explain what I mean. How many of you, raise your hand, how many of you are not from Renton? Didn't grow up in Renton? Okay, we got quite a few of you that did not grow up in Renton. Okay, so you are the ones I'm talking to. If you grew up in Renton, what I'm about to say really may not make any sense to you because you probably still have your friends from high school that you see and you hang around with. But for those of us that moved from out of town and we came to Renton, my experience was we would go to events. You know, I would go to a basketball game or go to a football game or go to one of my kids' events, and I would meet people around me and I would start to talk with them, and especially at our kids' events, you know, I would meet parents and I would think, man, I just really had a great time and got to know this person. And usually, whatever we were at, when we would get ready to leave, the conversation would usually end somewhere along the lines of, man, it was really great to meet you. Why don't we have coffee together? Now, you know what I found out? Why don't we have coffee together sometime really meant? What it really meant was, hey, Grant, great to meet you. Enjoyed having this time. It was fun to get to know you a little bit. And I will see you the next time our kids have an event together. That really was what it meant. Now, you know, dumb me, I thought it meant, hey, let's get together and let's become friends. You know, let's really develop a relationship together. Really what it meant was, I've got enough friends, but I know the polite thing to say is, why don't we have coffee sometime? Because it's just polite. It was that. Now, this title, this Seattle Nice, and we changed it to Renton Nice, here because a person that was being interviewed for this article said that when you meet people from Seattle, they're so nice until you try to crack through the surface. And you know, the reality is, it's not just a Renton or Seattle thing. I think the reality is, it is probably something that if you went to any other place in the country, you would experience some of this. Now, if you are from, like me, I am from Texas. And I would think on the outside, I would think, well, you know, if you went to Texas, no, you wouldn't experience that. They're a lot friendlier. Because when I go home, guess what? All the people I know are a lot friendlier. When they say, hey, Grant, let's get together and have coffee, they actually mean, Grant, why don't you come to my house and we'll have coffee? Why? Because they know me, I'm their friend, I grew up with them. Or they're related to me and they have to be nice to me. But what I have found sometimes is I have talked to people that moved into my hometown. And people that didn't have family there. They didn't know anybody. And you ask them and they would say a lot of the stuff, it's kind of that same way, Grant. So I started thinking about it. We need friends. Where do we find them? Well, as I was thinking about this, I read a book and it mentioned what they call these 4 spheres of space. And the first one was, they called the public. The public is like being at a sporting event. Or, you know, going down yesterday to CenturyLink Field and being in CenturyLink Field with 68,000 of your closest friends. And yes, you are in that time, you know, I mean, think about it, when you're at a sporting event. And when the Seahawks scored a touchdown, people who were complete strangers were turning to each other and going like this. Yeah! They were high-fiving, they were probably even hugging each other. Now, when they left that stadium, do you think they had any expectation that this person that they were hugging and high-fiving, do you think they have any expectation, unless it's their family, but you know, if it was somebody that was in a seat that was not affiliated with their party, do you think they have any expectation that they're going to see them and they're going to go have coffee together? No. Why? Because that's the public. You don't really get to know people in the public in that public sphere. The second one is the social. A social sphere is about 5 to 20 people. It's a smaller group. You begin to know the names. You know some things about them. And this social sphere is really, really important in our lives. Because it is out of that social sphere that you begin to hopefully find the people who are going to fill up the next section of your life, the personal. You know, the social sphere, they're people that you are beginning to get to know, and you're deciding, do I really like this person well enough to invest time and energy into a relationship with them? You haven't necessarily decided that I really, really like them and I really want to get to know this person, but you're saying, I want to find out, this might be somebody really that I want to get to know. And then the last one is the personal space. These are the people, these are your good friends. These are the people that you really are investing time and energy into. These are the people, they know you. Now they may not know your deepest, darkest secrets, but they really know you. They know who you are. They know what you're afraid of. They know what you get excited about. But it's a very small group. And those of us that grew up away from here, it's sometimes hard to fill that personal space. Because you see, if I still lived in Sanger, Texas, my personal space, the reality is it would be full. Because there's enough of the friends that I grew up with from the time that we were born and were probably in the nursery at First Baptist Sanger together until we graduated high school. We spent all of that time together, all of those years together. And if I lived back there, my personal space would be full. Because they would have those ready-made friends. But what about those of us that aren't from here? Filling up that personal space can be a little more challenging. And we're going to talk today about how do we fill up that personal space and why that is important. Now the last one is the intimate. And that is one other person. If you are married, hopefully that one other person is your spouse. This is your partner in life. But how do we fill up that personal space? How do we make friends? How do we find the people to become friends with? I want you to think about that as we sing. How do we find the potential pool of people with whom we will build real relationships? And you might even want to add another question here. Why is that important? Think about that as we sing. Let's stand together. So as we think about this idea of how do we develop those friends, how do we find the people? Before we even think about that, I think we have to go back and answer the question of why do we even desire to have relationships? Now I'll give you a short answer and then I'll expand on it because I'm a preacher and that's what we do. Short answer is this. God designed you that way. The short answer is God designed you to desire to have relationships with people. He built us. We are just hardwired to want to have friends, to want to have people around us at times. Now you may be like me, I am a bit of an introvert. And by being an introvert, what I mean is there are times that I would just prefer to go and just lock myself away and not talk to anybody. Okay, I used to think that I was an extrovert because I enjoy talking with people. But what I found is that sometimes it tires me out. And that I actually recharge by being by myself. But even with that, I still know that I need friends. I need to have people that I can talk to. So why do we desire it? Well, because God made us that way. And the amazing thing is this. God Himself desires to have a relationship with you. God Himself wants a relationship with you. You know, that ought to just blow our mind. That the God of the universe wants to spend time with us. That truth should be beyond our comprehension. And the reality is we can see that from the beginning of the Bible. If you have a Bible, turn to Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. As you see in the story of creation, it tells us the truth that God made mankind to have a relationship with Him. And here's what it says in Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze. And they hid themselves from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Now, the last part of that we're not really going to deal with, but you recognize this passage if you've been around church at all. This is from the narrative that describes the first sin of Adam and Eve. And this is describing what is happening there. But what I want you to really kind of draw your attention to, what I want you to notice, is that God is walking in the cool of the garden, in the cool of the evening. God is walking in the garden, and Adam and Eve go and hide themselves. Okay, why is that important? Well, because it points to this idea that God does this often. It points to the idea that God would come down regularly and just hang out with Adam and Eve. With the crown jewel of creation, which is what you and I are. That God would desire to spend time with the people of His creation. That to me is an amazing concept. And I love it. I mean, it is the greatest hope that we have. And it is our greatest need. Our greatest need is to have a relationship with God. And I'm not going to talk much about that today, but I want to just say this. If you recognize that you don't have a relationship with God, if you recognize that in yourself, I want you to take your connection card and flip over to the back, and you will see there is a spot there where it says, I commit to. I want to encourage you, if you say, you know what, Grant, I recognize that I don't have a relationship with God, then mark that. And sometime this week, somebody will contact you. We're just going to sit down and talk about how to have a relationship with God. Because it is the greatest need that you have. Let's go back to chapter 2 of Genesis. Chapter 2, verse 18. Then the Lord God said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is like him. Now, we understand our greatest need is to have a relationship with God. The second need that we have in this area is that we need relationships with other people. The verse we just read, it is the only part of the creation story in which God does not say it's good. If you read the creation story, every part of it, it would say God will do something, and He would look, and it would be the evening and the morning, and God would say, it is good. It's good. It's good. And just time after time, God says it's good. It's good. It's good. Until He's done. It looks like everything is finished. He's got all of the things made. Everything fits perfectly into place. And then He looks at Adam and He says, man, Adam is perfect. I outdid myself. And He goes, but it's not good. Because Adam is alone. God said, and I built Adam for relationships. He said, Adam needs relationships with others of his kind. So while this passage specifically focuses on the creation of Eve, I think the truth goes far beyond Eve. I think the truth goes to that reality that every one of us, we need relationships. If we are men, we need relationships with men. We need to have some men who are friends, some men that we can count on, some men to fit into that personal space that we talked about earlier. We need those things. If you're a woman, you need that relationship with another woman. You need that in that personal space. We need those things. To be complete, you need relationships with other people. Because it is the way that God created us. He created us to desire to have relationships. You can try to deny it. And we can say all we want. No, I don't need other friends, man. I'm a self-contained person. I'm a do it by myself person. I don't want to have to rely on anybody else. You can say that all you want. But the truth is, we all need other people. First and foremost, we need God. But we need other people. So if it's true, and I believe that it is, that we need relationships, where do we find them? Where do we find them? Because we know that it takes time, right? Relationships, real friendships, they don't just happen. They don't happen immediately. You don't sit at a basketball game for your daughter, like when my kids were younger, and we'd go to those games, and we'd be sitting at the game, and I'd be sitting by his parents of another kid on Mackenzie's team, and we'd be talking, and what I think, like I said earlier, boy, I just got this great connection, and they'd say, let's have coffee sometime, and I began to understand what that really meant. Yeah, okay, we'll see you the next time at the next game. A real friendship isn't going to develop with us sitting beside each other for a basketball game for a few weeks. It's just not going to happen. We may become social acquaintances, but we're not going to become real friends. But what happens is you meet somebody, and we begin to decide almost immediately if we would enjoy spending some more time with that person. Almost immediately, you meet people, you've all met people. You don't have to even raise your hand on this. You've all met somebody that you knew immediately, as soon as I get out of here, I hope to God I never see this person again. Okay, right? I see nobody, don't raise your hand. Hopefully you guys think that about me. But we've all done it. We all have that, right? Where you've met people that you just thought, man, there is no way this person is getting anywhere close to my list of friends. You met other people that you met them, you spent time together, and you thought, that's a pretty cool person. I might like to get to know them. I might like to spend some more time with them. Now, you haven't decided right then that you're going to allow this person into that personal space, into that group, that small group of people that are very, very special to you. But you've decided that, this person can go beyond just the public. It can be beyond just the social. That they're kind of somewhere in between. That I want to get to know them more, but I'm not real sure yet that I am going to really invite them fully into my life. In our society, where do we find those people? Where do we get the opportunity to find the people that we can pull from the social space into that personal space? Well, when you're a child, we have our ready-made alternative. It's called school. You take 20-something first graders and shove them into a class. And hopefully, out of that group of 20-something first graders, your first grader will find a couple of kids that they go, man, I really like this person. And they will hopefully be able to grow up through their years. I have friends from high school that I am still friends with. They are still buddies of mine. Why? Because we started out even before kindergarten. And we went all those years together. And then we go off to college. And I have friends from college that I keep in contact with. Facebook is great. I love it that I keep find out what's going on in their lives. We have those same things. But then, what happens after after we get out of high school? What happens after we get out of college? Especially, what happens to those of you like me that go to high school and college in one state, and then you get a job 2,000 miles away, and now there's nobody. I don't know of anybody from Sanger, Texas, besides me, that lives in this county. There's probably some others of you that go, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know anybody from my home that lives here. Where do we find those people? Because when we're out of school, our potential pool has begun to shrink. Well, people will try bars, sports clubs, service associations, and multitudes of other opportunities. You know, some people are so involved in serving their community, not because they really like serving their community, but because they are desperate for social interaction. They are desperate for real friends. And so they have joined the Rotary and Kiwanis and whatever other organizations you can think of. They have joined them because they're hoping, just hoping that maybe I can find a couple of people to share my life with. I can find a couple of real, true friends. I want to tell you, there's one place I didn't mention. And it is the place that offers the most ready-made pool of potential friends. It's called the church. And starting February the 9th, here at Calvary, we are going to provide another opportunity for you to make some friendships. It's called a growth group. And on your connection card, under Sign Me Up For, you will see that we have 3 listed. 2 of those will be on Sunday nights. That is the growth group at my house, the growth group at Laura Euland's house. The 3rd one is going to be on Thursday nights, and that is at the Medeja's house. They're all within the Renton area, all fairly close to here. But what's going to happen in a growth group? It's going to be made up of between 12 to 15 people. The group is going to meet once a week for 10 weeks. This time it's going to be 10 weeks. You're going to meet for about an hour and a half. And what they're going to do, what a growth group's going to do, besides the opportunity to study God's Word and to learn and to grow in your understanding of God, which is a wonderful thing in and of itself. If we didn't do anything else in a growth group, it would be worth signing up for, simply because you're going to get to learn and grow in your understanding of God. But we have this wonderful fringe side benefit. It is going to give you an opportunity to meet a new pool of people. You know, if you come to Sunday school here, you come at 9:30, you're in with the group. It's the same group. And you may love those people. But the way we structure our Sunday school, they're all like pretty much close to the same age as you. Growth groups are not going to be structured like that. In your growth group, there may be some that are right at your age. But you are also going to have an opportunity to meet some people who are maybe outside of your age group. And our hope is this. Our hope is that by the end of that time together, that you will look and say, you know, there were 2 or 3 people that I really clicked with. Hopefully you will say, I like everybody in my group. I enjoyed spending time with everybody in my group. But man, there were just a couple of people that I just really want to get to know better. Because you see, at the end of the 10 weeks of a growth group, you're not going to walk out of there and be best friends with somebody in that group. It's probably just not going to happen. I mean, if it does, hallelujah. But the reality is, you're probably not going to walk out of a growth group saying, I have found my best friend and we have shared everything together. Hopefully what you're going to do is you're going to walk out of there and go, man, I found a couple of people that we're going to get together some more. And that they have the potential to become that. Now what happens if you get in a growth group and you go the 10 weeks and you walk out of there and you go, you know, those people were cool. I like them. I'll enjoy seeing them in church. But I just didn't find anybody that I just really clicked with. Well, here's a great thing. The growth group ends after 10 weeks. and you're done. And if you didn't really find somebody, no problem. The next time we have growth group, sign up again. Sign up for a different one. You might find somebody in the next one. It gives you an opportunity to test out a new potential pool of friends. At the same time, learning. And you're going to have people across the age spectrum. Why is that important? Again, I'll go back to those of us that are not from Renton. One of the things that I miss, and one of the things that I think others of my age group and down that have moved away from parents and family, one of the things that we miss is that extended family. We miss having that generational wisdom that comes from the generation beyond us. We miss that generational enthusiasm that comes in the generation below us. And because of the way we're going to do our growth groups, hopefully you will be in a group that will have somebody on both ends. Hopefully you'll be in a group that you might be able to find some people that you really you want to get to know, even though they're 40 years older than you. It may be that you find the people that you just really say, man, these are going to be special people in my life. They might have 40 years on them. But they also might be 20 years younger. We need that. We need that cross-generational dynamic. And that is why those of you that have lived in Renton for 30 years, 40 years, and you may say, okay, Grant, that's great, all this stuff about needing those new friends. You know, I've got my personal space filled, and I really don't need anybody else. What I'd say to you is, you may not, but some of us may need you. There are some of us that need you, because we need that generation above us, and we need you. So I want to challenge you. If you look and you say, well, you know, I don't need anyone, sign up. Be a part of a group. Because you may be the one that somebody my age or the generation below me, you may be the one that they need. Take a chance. Take a chance of developing some real relationships, some real friendships. I encourage you to take your connection card. We already talked about under the I commit to, we already talked about the first one. The second one is, I have already signed up for a growth group. If you signed up for a specific growth group last week, and we only had the first two last week, hopefully you received an email from the leader of that group. But if you signed up for one of those, I want to ask you to sign up for, to mark there, that I've already signed up. Now, if you signed up and you said, I want to be in a growth group, but Grant, I just don't know, and you decided and you want to be in one of these, then go ahead and mark the next one that says, I want to sign up for a growth group. And when you check that, come over to here and check the one of the group that you want to be in. And again, Sunday evenings will be the one at my house, that's Bowles' house, or the one at the Euland's house. And then Thursday evenings is going to be the one at the Medea's house. And so if one of those works for you, sign up. Now some of you may be thinking, Grant, I would love to, but you know, I've gotten to a place where I don't drive at night. Or I don't have a car. I can't get there. What I want to ask you to do is sign up for the one that you would like to go to, and then write on the bottom of that connection card whatever challenge it is. If you can't drive at night, just write, I can't drive at night. And we will contact you, we will work, we will make sure that we find a way to get you there to those growth groups. I want to challenge, I can't challenge you strongly enough to be a part of one. Take the chance on developing some real friendships. Father, help us in everything we do. Help us in this especially. That we would be your ambassadors. And that we would step out and make friends. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.